We're live.
Okay.
Already searching for a good, bad, and ugly.
Morning, baby Jules. Paul, hope you had a good holiday. Thank you. I'm going over, Paul. Into you, Ambient.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Hope you had a great 4th of July holiday. Mark is off until Monday. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Felipe and I holding down the fort for the rest of the week. Good morning, young man. How are you?
I am doing well. 4th of July was great. A lot of fireworks in Southwest Florida on the beach. Great sunset, great weather. Can't complain.
Listen, even by our standards, though, it's hot.
Oh, it's hot.
I mean, even by Floridian standards, it's hot. I mean, that's like when it gets into the 120s in the desert. And even the folks in Arizona go, listen, I can handle 112, 114. What the heck?
For all you leather car seat owners out there, God bless your soul.
Well, listen, when, the local meteorologists in numerous cities in this Sunshine State start throwing around, tying record highs, setting record highs. I mean, Southwest Florida either tied or set record high temperatures over the holiday. It was pretty much the same in Jacksonville. All right. Other areas of the state tied or set records for the heat. I mean, There was a glitch at one point. It listed the heat index. Checking the weather around the state. I'm old. Occasionally it's what I do over, a 4-day period of time. And it was so hot that the weather equipment started to glitch. Okay, I think I was checking in on the weather in Southwest Florida and said it feels like 132. I'm like, hey, come on now. I don't think we've gotten there yet. We're not cooking eggs yet.
It's certainly the time of the year where your local broadcast starts suggesting how to be safe when you're
Right.
outside, so you don't
And
burn your skin off.
listen, we have a 1.5-year-old granddaughter, and for the first time, I think mom and dad maybe left her outside about 10 minutes too long. She had the look in the car looking at them like, hey, what the heck? All right. Little water, little air. Okay. Come on now. So, yeah, there's no doubt about it. Hope you had a great fourth, though. And hope many of you had time off. Like young Felipe, he's got another job. I mean, see, he's learning the rigors of this business. Felipe, you must admit, when we first crossed paths over a year and a half ago, and you were in your final semester or so as a college student, what did Miller and Moulton both implore you to do?
Not this. I'll tell
Correct.
you that.
Correct.
Why are you doing this?
Correct.
Are,
Even though
are you sure about this?
we desperately needed some young fool to get up at 4:30 in the morning, not have a life. All right, come on in and be a part of this, half-baked idea. And so we're like, listen, we need you, but otherwise you need to get a grip. You need to get a life. And we tried to tell you this is how it's going to be. Okay, relationships are going to be hard. You're going to have 2 periods all week where you're off, where she's off, just so you know. Okay. And I guess one of those for you was yesterday.
Thankfully. I mean, it's funny because I'm the new guy, right? So obviously I feel bad asking for work off. I was the only person in my department that got off yesterday.
And by new guy, I mean, technically he's the new guy on Miller and Moulton too, because Miller and Moulton have been together for 17 years. Felipe's only got about a year and a half in. So technically he's the new guy wherever he's working. But Felipe picked up a couple of weeks ago. He got his first television job. He's working full time at a local station or stations in Southwest Florida. A terrific company. I worked for him for 4 years. They just changed ownership over the weekend. In fact, by the way, was there any cake in the office? Like, when you went? I mean, when Waterman Broadcasting became Hearst Broadcasting or Hearst Corporation or whatever the name of the new owners are, I mean, certain people retired. I mean, the guy who hired me retired, Steve Pontius. I'm like, whoa, 37 years. What the heck?
Oh yeah, there was a whole fiesta, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all the staff,
Seriously?
Oh yeah, big cake,
Wow.
3 coolers.
Now, what kind of cake? Because when I was there, and granted, I have been there for nearly 20 years. Okay, but when I was there, you know what the big celebration was? The big Publix cookie. That was you knew you made the grade, like when you were on your way out and all of a sudden they'd bring everybody into the newsroom or the business office or what have you, 5 minutes worth of speeches, and next thing you know there was a Publix cookie and you're like, oh wow, I made the cut. Felipe, I got a cookie. I was shocked I got a cookie.
I mean, there was catering, lasagna and pasta.
I'm just curious, who do you charge that to? The new ownership, or do you charge that to Waterman Broadcasting one final time?
That's a great question.
That
is a great question.
Listen, technically, I know you're working in production, but the news director, so to speak, the guy who's in charge of news is named Daryl. All right. Daryl's actually the guy that hired me, but he answered to Steve. Okay. If you run into Daryl, just say, listen, a guy from your past. All right, David Moulton, and he'll roll his eyes. And you go, yeah, I know. I work with him. Okay. You say, listen, he just wants to know all the catering you guys did on Friday. Did Mrs. Waterman have to pick that up, or are you sticking that in under Hearst? Is that like the final part of the sale? I'm just curious.
I didn't find out the flavor of the cake, though. It was a big cake with the big Waterman W on it. I didn't get a piece.
Oh, wow.
I know.
All right. I love a good cake. I have to admit, I can eat cake virtually any time of the day.
Is it one of those kinds of foods?
I don't think it is. I just think it's a reflection. It's a character flaw of mine. I could eat a piece of cake right now. We could go to break. I could eat a piece of cake.
You'll tear it up live.
And I'm not a big sweets person, but like chocolate, not necessarily. Cake, that's a different story.
But a chocolate cake or a vanilla cake?
It doesn't matter. Either one. I'm not big on the strawberry filling. I'm not a big strawberry guy. Okay. If you want to go icing in the middle, lemon or something like that, I'm okay with. But no, it doesn't matter. Vanilla, chocolate, I don't care.
Are you a birthday cake flavored guy? So like birthday cake flavor on different things, like birthday cake ice cream.
See, it's tough to go wrong with cake. I mean, how do you screw up a cake? What's the flavor you can put on a cake? I mean, I'll even eat the stuff that's got the strawberry in the middle. I'll kind of scrape a little bit of it off, but I'll still eat 85, 90% of the cake. How do you screw up a cake?
You can screw up a cake. I mean, you can make an absolute disaster of a cake.
No, I understand. Well, you can screw up anything. Okay, but I just meant in terms of flavor. Okay, I mean, really, is there a flavor cake you won't eat? Like Coach Rick says, he'll eat carrot cake all day and twice on Sunday. Now, I don't know if I'd eat that much carrot cake. That would be down on my list of cakes. Okay. But that's all. I'm just curious. Can you really screw up a cake? All right. Could be, once Felipe, as you know, it could be, nominating, a poll question. Actually, Behind in our Twitch chat room is like, hey, what kind of cake? Cheesecake, cookie cake, ice cream cake. It could be our poll question after the holiday.
There aren't really any bad cake flavors. I'll give you that.
So what did everybody do over the holiday? And also, I guess there were places that made you work on Monday. That could be our poll question. All right. Is the boss being a bit of a blank if they made you work on Monday?
Didn't give you that long weekend.
Yeah. Now, I understand there are certain, jobs that, literally if somebody doesn't show up, the trains run off the tracks. I get it. The airline pilots really do need to show up Monday. Yes. We all get it. But, there are certain jobs in which it's like, it's not a day off and everybody kind of showed up and they walked around like zombies for 5 to 6 hours and they all went home between 2 and 3 o'clock anyway. And it was kind of like, really? We couldn't have had this day off? So I'm just curious, how many of you, and I apologize to those in the text lines and the text chat room, if you will, right now, because Felipe has to stay in his office for most of the show, and I don't have access to the text lines. Mark handles the text lines. I handle the Twitch chat room. Mark handles the text lines. So Felipe is going to run over during commercial breaks. He's actually going to get up even sometimes during segments and run over and check the text line and see if there's anything good, that sort of deal. Look at KW here. Molten chocolate lava cake. There's two, because, my last name is unusual and there's not a ton of Moultons. Miller, for goodness sake. I mean, Mark actually married a woman whose maiden name is Miller. If she hyphenated, if she hyphenated her name, she'd be Miller.
No way.
Yes.
Oh,
it's a fairly common name. I don't know if it's Smith or Jones, but it's fairly common. There's not a ton of Moultons.
I have never met a Moulton before.
Yeah, well, and it's probably to your benefit. All right. But there are 2 times in which I actually heard the word Moulton in which it didn't, it wasn't a family member. Molten lava. Okay. And then molten something lava cake. It's the only 2 times I've ever heard of Moulton, but lava. And so when I meet people and, what's your name? David Moulton, Moulton as in lava. Oh, okay. Now you don't spell it that way, but that's okay. It's just the pronunciation, because otherwise there's a lot of vowels and I don't want you getting mixed up emphasizing, vowels. Quite frankly, the vowels that are in my name are probably not the vowel sounds that should be accented. So it's a whole other story. But there you go. Chocolate lava, molten chocolate lava cake. Huh. Yeah, right now, during the break. Absolutely. I could pound a big piece of cake. Yes, at this hour. No doubt about it. Rest of my life, I'd have no problem. My doctor would love it. Be great for my pre-diabetes, care that I'm under too. How's your diet? Well, it's pretty good, except between 6 and 10 a.m. Why? What's wrong there? Well, I have a big piece of cake. I try to accentuate it with a banana. How about that? No? Little Gatorade Zero just to balance it out. Not the regular stuff, the stuff with no sugar. Because, after the big piece of chocolate molten lava cake, I need the Gatorade Zero.
I appreciate you going with the no sugar, but Gatorade Zero is trash. With all due respect.
Well, you're not offending me at all, unfortunately, Felipe. Okay. It's like those of us that transitioned in our 20s or maybe 30s from regular soda to diet soda. Diet soda is trash. You just acquire a new taste for it. Why? You're getting older, you're getting fatter, you want to continue to drink your soda. And so you just acquire a taste for something that's lousy. It's called adjusting to life, Felipe. It gets worse as you get older. Everything, eating, drinking,
Please don't
breathing. Right. It's all the same. Miller and Moulton. Hope you had a good 4th of July weekend. Thanks for starting the week off with us, so to speak.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, you know what, Shimko, now you're talking. Because some cake with some milk, that's what's up.
I'm with you, Shimko. Listen, there are times we don't even have milk in the house.
Oh, David, it's that time of the year. Live Wimbledon tennis.
There you go.
It is that time.
Well, I have to admit, it is weird to somewhat of my generation, Felipe, that Wimbledon is starting now. Wimbledon historically ended right around July 4th.
Yes. And I miss those days.
In fact, I remember, granted, this is a while ago, I was 15, but I remember, when McEnroe finally beat Borg at Wimbledon, he beat him on July 4th in 81.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Adam, you know what was a bummer? Is that she came in actually playing decently and, started the match off great and then fell and got hurt.
I can't believe she's still playing.
43
Unbelievable.
years old. 43. Well, Martina either made a doubles final or won either a doubles title or a mixed doubles title. I think she was in her 40s. There is an article that was written over the weekend, and it was first posted in the Washington Post, I think Friday. But Sally Jenkins of the Washington Post wrote a spectacular, long story about Martina and Chrissy and how much their lives have mirrored one another and how they both have been battling cancer of late and how they lean on each other, damn near each other's best friend, which is so fascinating considering what rivals they were. And great story. She makes a really good point late in the article in which she said, you know, there's no statue of the two of them anywhere. She lists, you know, all the tennis arenas like US Open, Arthur Ashe. And that and if you can argue it's certainly in women's sports, but you could argue it's one of the 5 greatest rivalries in sports history. No, we have guests. Relax, dude. What are you, our producer? Take it easy. Yeah, we got Pat Kirwan and Seth. It's okay.
It's a hump day.
We just didn't tweet it out. See, that's Mark's job.
You know what? I could still do that. Honestly.
Felipe is so worried about just getting us on the air. Okay. He didn't sleep well last night. He came in early. He showered even. I mean, he's a mess. Yeah. Coco Gauff got beat also.
I know she's young. I just want her to get over that hump already, man. She's 19 years old.
I was going to say, I don't think she's not old enough to drink yet.
She's 19, yeah. She's been competing at this level since she was 16.
Adam, there are no storylines that interest anyone. That's why they're already pumping up Andy Murray. He's somebody people know.
Man, did the Marlins get brutally murdered by the Braves over the weekend. Ugh.
Yeah, get in line.
More on that later. Yeah.
Get in line.
15 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark off the rest of the week. He'll be back on Monday. We've got magic numbers, by the way.
Give it to me.
Well, you know, it'd be nice if I had them like prominently displayed in front of me. I mean, I'd text them to you and everything. Okay. Magic numbers are 52, 57, and 64. How about that? 7.5 weeks away from week 0. 8 weeks tomorrow. The college football season really kicks off. Gators in Utah, UCF, a member of the Big 12. By the way, UCF got a 4-star to commit to them over Florida State yesterday. They've got 4 4-stars in this recruiting class. That's really good for UCF. And 9 weeks tomorrow, Lions and Chiefs. You know, rookies report to NFL training camps in 2 weeks. For those of you that are into that sort of thing, be able to turn on a channel and actually see guys in helmets and shoulder pads hitting one another. In 3 weeks, the veterans show up. Yeah. If you're into that sort of thing, remember, you know, it's the only thing that happens in late July and August. Injuries. It's the only thing that counts. Everything else is garbage. Just keep that in mind. I know we're not good for a lot, but last week we saved you 10% off at the Diamond District. And, it just, the only thing that counts pre-Labor Day in football are the injuries. That's it. Everything else is...
Knock on wood every day in August.
So now, granted, first show after a holiday celebration. And so, people chime in with the stuff that's on their mind over the last 4+ days. I hesitate to go back too far, but kind of have to, since, we haven't been on since Friday morning until now. So this NASCAR race Sunday night. First off, Felipe, have you seen the ratings at all?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, that's good. So I will ask a generic question. Normal NASCAR ratings. Do you think the Chicago race did the same, better, or worse?
I want to say that it exceeded it just because it was a holiday weekend and a lot of people were curious.
Well, you were correct. It's the highest rated race on NBC in 6 years. Now, think about that. NBC has the series finale every year, the championship every year, final race of the season every year. NBC has it. So for the last 5 seasons, those races, almost all of them at Homestead, last year at Phoenix, almost all of them, actually all of them, did not get as many eyeballs as the Chicago race Sunday night on NBC. Now, I do think they were helped by A, Sunday of a holiday weekend, but also B, rain pushed the race back. And the later you get, the better the viewership. Why is it the Super Bowl starts between 6:30 and 7 o'clock on a Sunday night? Hello?
Prime time.
Right. U.S. Open golf, West Coast. Ratings best in 4 years since the last U.S. Open on the West Coast. I digress. So, yeah, 4.5 million people for what it's worth, which, by the way, for comparison, that's a solid SEC on CBS football game. I mean, for the longest time, 4 million viewers was kind of the cutoff. Can you get a game? In fact, conferences, Felipe, literally when they're considering membership, it's, all right, how many eyeballs can they get to watch their games if they're the featured team? And we talked about this last week when UCF was about to transition to the Big 12 and leave South Florida behind in a non-Power 5 conference. And we talked about how in the last 5 years, UCF has attracted eyeballs to their games significantly more and more times than South Florida has attracted eyeballs to their games. 4.5 million viewers on average. Highest rated race on NBC since the series finale in 2017. Highest rated NASCAR race of the year, except for the Daytona 500. So we're going to see this race again. Now, I don't know if we see it next year in Chicago. I don't know if NASCAR is going to just rotate this amongst cities. Hey, it was great. We did it in Chicago. We'll be back in 4 years. Who wants it next year? Now, I would have to think. NASCAR's home base is where? Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't they have to hold this race in Charlotte? If they're going to continue with this city series, unless they're going to make it exclusively Chicago, which I don't think they are. I don't know if Chicago wants this every year.
Especially
maybe
around
they do.
That time of the year.
Now, maybe they do. Now, I will say, just about every seat was filled, and 60 to 70% of those that were filling the seats had never been to a NASCAR race before. This is a huge win for NASCAR.
Right, and through the rain, they kept the crowd.
Correct. Now, the alcohol and what else you going to do? It's a holiday weekend, and we're here. We might as well stay.
$500 to get here.
Yeah, apparently the race, by the way, was 15 minutes away from being canceled.
Oh,
so
man. That would have been tragic because I enjoyed it.
Now,
I think the rain made it more enjoyable because
well, I
cars
agree with that.
drifting around corners.
No, I agree with that. To me, it's like watching football in the elements. Football is
Yes.
a better watch, even rain, mud, or snow. Now, you don't want to play every game in it, but when you get the one game a year in it, you're like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm with you. I love the fact that they're trying to brake heading into turn 11 and they have to go through two big puddles before they get. And if you're sitting there watching, you're like, well, I know how my brakes operate when I go through a big puddle. I mean, this guy may hit the brakes and nothing happens and he may go right into the wall. And by the way, I'm doing 40, he's doing 90.
And it made for drama.
Yeah, totally. So, and I actually also like the fact that it was a, hired gun, a guy from New Zealand who doesn't race on the NASCAR circuit, who was literally brought in to run this road race. And he did something that hadn't been done in 60 years in NASCAR. He won the first ever NASCAR race he ever drove in.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
From New Zealand. So, and he said basically, listen, I'm under contract for this year and next, but in 2025, I'll be back. I'll be racing here full time if somebody wants me. Here's my number.
And again, drama. He passes Justin Haley with like 2 laps left, and then he just guns it.
Yeah, he had the best car down the stretch. But I have to admit, I watched the last third of the race because, it rained. He got pushed back. I did other things. And then like midway through the race, I'm like, okay, I'm going to tune in now. And the coverage was interesting. It was different than what we're used to because they did it very much like motor racing and PRN, in which they had announcers in turns. And so, they had the guys near the start finish line, and then they went to, Dale Jr. in turn 4, and then they had Jeff Burton in turn 6. And so there were different parts of the track. Some of them were tight, not much going on. Others, this is where the pass was going to happen. I will say there was a little more. I mean, Felipe, you watched more passing in the NASCAR race or the Miami Grand Prix?
Oh, easily the NASCAR race. Easy.
Right. I thought the track was better set up in Chicago than in the Dolphins parking lot.
Yes. I actually loved how the track was set up. I love how there was a point where they met in the middle in the 2 turns. It was awesome. And it was eye candy.
And so, listen, it worked for me. Do I want to see this every year? I don't want to see it every year in Chicago. I wouldn't mind if they decide they're going to do this in 4 or 5 major U.S. cities and do it on a rotation. And then it would be like, it's time for the city race. Hey, what city are they in this year? Oh, they're in Charlotte.
It's like a tour.
Yeah. Hey, what city are they in 2025? They're going to Houston. Oh, okay, cool. But it worked for me. Did it work for you? Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ambien, I love how Kate, because apparently her and Federer did something right before the tournament for like the ball boys and the ball girls. And Kate mentioned that Federer's her mom's favorite player. And as she said, I think I can say this, she's got a bit of a crush on him. I know, Heidi's dad. I know you did. I think a road race in which a guy who at one point was 18th who can win it shows that it's a much better road race than most road races. Heidi, the other thing that I will say, I hate NBC's NASCAR coverage. Don't like most of their announcers. And I do think in NASCAR, the network and the announcers actually make a difference. But Ambien, it's true. It's true. Middle of the race. I don't even know if he waited to the middle of the race. Let me see. Way too slow, too many cars into the wall. Seems like they forced the drivers to race. Okay. NASCAR in Chicago is a good idea, like the WKRP turkey drop.
So they had brake lights. Or was that because they had lights in the back of their cars that just kept flashing, even when it seemed like they were accelerating? Uh-oh.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Final day of June. How about that? I think this year's moving along. I do.
It is. They all
Yeah.
do. That's what happens when you get old. The years go by. Yes.
No. Some years move at a glacier pace. Like, did you think that 2020 moved at this pace?
That's a bad example because
We're talking about a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic.
That was a
And
once-in-a-lifetime
you're going to say
year.
that? Come on.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Hopefully we're doing this show for a little while, okay? And there will be a year down the road, 24, 25, 26, in which I'll go, by the way, doesn't it seem like this year is going slow as molasses?
I'll take that $20 bet right now.
Telling you, I think all the success of the Florida sports teams has made this year just fly by. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Time now for
The starting.
Well, you're going to love this. So the way we connect is we connect through Mark's computer in the Fort Myers studio. And whenever we have internet problems, it's every single time it's been through Fort Myers. And this is the very first time that my internet got disconnected. And it got disconnected right as we were coming out of a commercial break. Now, here's what I think happened. And this has never happened before. I've got some electrical issues in the condo. And it's taken me weeks, if not months, to figure out the problem. I have finally figured it out. Me and the condo association are going to battle over who's going to pay for it. But the problems are getting fixed tomorrow morning. The problem is that we still have electrical issues. Like, for instance, if you turn on the dryer, which is in a room about 30 feet down the hall, all right, well, the lights go out in the house for a full second, all right? The TV turns off, and then it turns on again. And so it needs 5 minutes to, like, refresh itself and to get your channel back on. Well, it had never affected the show before. The lights had gone off and on, but nothing had ever happened to the internet. All right. So my wife decides she's going to dry the towels. And it knocked us off the air.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, here's my fear. She's going for a morning walk. When she comes back, all right, she's going to, wash her hair. And when Felipe, when she puts the blow dryer on, the same thing happens. So we might get knocked off the air again. So, yeah.
Well, if things are fixed, that means that we can do the starting five.
It is time now for
The starting five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
That was unbelievable. Rays lost their 3rd in a row. Phillies won their 10th straight road game. 3-1 Philadelphia. Nola outpitched Eflin, former teammates. Wander Franco, by the way, was named to the All-Star game late yesterday as an injury replacement for Aaron Judge. The fact that Franco was not originally named to the All-Star game was an absolute joke. In any metric that you'd like, he was the first player in over 20 years who had the certain batting average, doubles, stolen bases, and what have you, and wasn't an All-Star. Do you know who has the highest WAR in the American League? You would think it's Ohtani, right? No, it's Wander Franco. And he wasn't named to the All-Star team. What, just because he's a young jerk and he got suspended for 2 games? Unbelievable. Anyway, fortunately for the Rays, the Orioles lost again to the Yankees 8-4. Rays have a 6-game lead on Baltimore. Yankees are 8 back. They both would be wild card teams if the playoffs started today. Meanwhile, before 16,437 in South Florida, the Marlins rough up the Cardinals 15-2. Jesus Sanchez a homer, 4 RBIs. Garrett Cooper a homer and 3 RBIs. Marlins swept Boston, got swept in Atlanta, came home and won the first 2 of a 4-game series against the Cardinals. By the way, people are actually showing up for Marlins games. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not average major league attendance or anything.
It's cute, like you said last week. You or Mark. You know, the upper deck is still empty, but the lower bowl, it looks...
Well, I mean, they had, right around 20,000 on Monday. So it's a 4-game series, and I'm telling you, Phillies in town Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a big series. Marlins hosting the Phillies. They got a night game tonight. They got a day game tomorrow. Remember, Philly, Mighty Nooner on Thursday. Thursday's your day off from your television job. You get right out of this show. You can head on over if you wanted. So, of course, by Thursday, you're so tired, you're going to head home, take a nap, try to wake up for the 4th inning. But anyway, so 16,000 and change at a Marlins game. That's unbelievable. By the way, the Braves finally lost. They had won 9 in a row. Do you know they've had 2 8-game winning streaks and a 9-game winning streak already this year? We're in the first week of July. Told you, the Braves are winning the World Series. Remember when I said they're going to win the division by at least 12? Yeah, what's their lead now? 8?
They
Something
can't
like
lose.
that? Yeah.
They cannot lose.
Except they did last night in 10. Cleveland beat them 6-5. Braves have 8 All-Stars, by the way, and 2 other guys should have made it. But, the whole everybody's got to have a representative, what have you. Yeah, they're really good. Reds doubled up Washington 8-4. This, you may have heard of this Ellie De La Cruz guy.
Ellie Mania.
He's been up for less than a month. He's been up for 3.5 weeks. He had his second 4-hit game of his major league career yesterday. Did I mention he's been in the majors 3.5 weeks? Yeah. Cubs, by the way, beat Milwaukee 7-6 and 11. So the Reds have a 1-game lead in the Central. Twins have a 1-game lead in the Central. They beat Kansas City 9-3. Max Kepler with 4 RBIs. Texas's lead in the West is 3. They beat Boston 6-2. Houston held Colorado to 3 hits and a 4-1 win. The Padres were talking some smack with the Angels coming into town on Monday, and they've answered their smack. They've beaten the Angels twice in a row, and things could not be worse for the Angels. When the holiday weekend began, the Angels were in the playoffs. Since then, they've lost just about every time they've played. Mike Trout just went on the injured list with a broken, what's it called? A hamate in your hand, right by the lower hand and wrist. Yeah, he's going to miss at least a month. At least. Ohtani had to leave the game after giving up back-to-back homers for the first time in his career with a blister. That was 2 innings after Rendon left the game injured. So they're 2, 3, 4 hitters, all left injured in the last 24 hours. The Angels are now 7 back in the West and 4 out of the wild card. 8-5 San Diego. Mets beat Arizona by the same score. That's their 3rd win in a row. Arizona's lead in the West is 2.5 over the Dodgers, who were beating Pittsburgh until the Pirates scored 3 in the 9th. 9-7 Pittsburgh. Kershaw, by the way, on the injured list. The 2 guys who were going to start in the All-Star game, McClanahan and Kershaw, both went on the injured list over the holiday weekend.
Plus, no pitching for Shohei in the All-Star game either. I mean, if you have tickets for this game and you were looking for that,
Fox is thrilled.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Seattle shut out San Francisco 6-0. Logan Gilbert threw a 5-hitter. Giants have lost 4 in a row. Oakland 1-0 over Detroit in 10. And Vlad Jr. with a 2-run homer in the 8th, and he said he's going to participate in the home run derby. Toronto 4-3 over the White Sox. Nelson Cruz designated for assignment. He's 43. He's got 464 career homers. Believe it or not, he's been okay this year. He's hitting like 245. He's got double-digit dingers. It's just that he's a right-handed DH. Can't play the field. And the Padres are like, yeah, we need guys. I got We got too many guys who can only do one thing, and we had to let them go. So wouldn't surprise me if Cruz gets picked up. All right, hot dog eating contest. How many of you watched, especially after it was canceled? I mean, for a while there, it was, no, it's canceled because of rain. By the way, so let me get this straight. They raced NASCAR in the rain, but they weren't going to have a hot dog eating contest in the rain?
Build a dome.
How about go inside a building? You're on
Right.
Coney Island. It's a bunch of places right there.
Go inside of a Nathan's hot dog.
I know, television and crowd and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, Joey Chestnut won for the 16th time in 17 years. He disappointing performance, though. He only ate 62 in 10 minutes. 62. So that's a little better than a hot dog every 10 seconds.
If you bet the under, you hit by 10 hot dogs.
Miko Sudo, who's from Port Richey, Florida, won the women's title for the 9th time. She had 39 and a half hot dogs in 10 minutes. By the way, this is buns included, folks. Just so you know. All right. A few things that have happened over the weekend, maybe missed. And by weekend, I mean holiday weekend. So the Gators announced they're going to make a $400 million investment in the Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. This will be the 6th expansion of the stadium, which was originally built in 1939 and held 21,769 seats. It currently holds over 88,000. When they keep the fire marshals away, they put about 90 to 91 in the place, formerly known as the Swamp. The Lightning traded away Pat Maroon. They've lost Alex Killorn, Corey Perry, Ross Colton, and Pat Maroon off the team last year. They've gotten younger, faster, and cheaper on their 3rd and 4th lines.
Sounds familiar, right?
Do you know that 2 years ago they won the Stanley Cup? Do you know how many guys from the team picture on the ice? Do you know how many players are left from the team that won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago? 8. Yeah. Orlando Magic with an interesting roster move yesterday. They released 23-year-old 7'2" Bol. He's Manute Bol's son. He had a breakthrough year last year coming off the bench. He averaged 9.6 rebounds and a little over 20 minutes a game. Not only that, his price tag was $2.2 million.
Right. I don't get it. What can he do that Victor Wembanyama can't?
You couldn't keep him and trade him? Or how about this? Use him. Anyway. The NBA is experimenting during the Summer League, which just got underway this weekend in Vegas, with an in-game flopping penalty. And by the way, they can go back and review. Like the play can continue, and then when play finally stops, they can go, going back 2 possessions ago, we think that was a flop. The officials get together. If they rule it a flop, the team that had the flop performed against them will get a free throw and then get possession of the ball. By the way, the player who flopped gets a technical, but it doesn't count as a personal foul. So they're going to experiment with that in Summer League. Women's golf news. The U.S. Open begins tomorrow at Pebble Beach. That'll be worth watching, even if you don't normally watch women's golf, just because it's at Pebble Beach. Michelle Wee West will compete for the final time. She's 33 years old. And men's British Open, Sergio Garcia did not qualify. First time in 25 British Opens, Sergio won't be in the field. He missed it by a shot. I'm a little surprised they don't give him an exemption. He's kind of a European Ryder Cup legend. Anyway, Wimbledon's underway. They've had a lot of problems with rain. The 9th seed on the men's side, Taylor Fritz, the American, he's in a 5th set battle. Andy Murray breezed in the first round. He's 36 years old. He was asked, do you know when you're going to retire? And he says, yes, I know, but it's not going to be after this tournament. And 79-year-old Vince Tobin died over the holiday weekend. Vince Tobin replaced Buddy Ryan famously twice. First, when Buddy left the Bears to go become head coach of the Eagles, Vince Tobin was the defensive coordinator who came in, and the 86 Bears actually held teams to fewer points than the 85 Bears did. And also, he replaced Buddy Ryan as head coach of the Arizona Cardinals and led the Cardinals to their first playoff win in 51 years since Tobin was 79. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
a lot happened over the holiday weekend. A lot. Maybe we'll talk about it. I don't know. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, ambient. Yeah, but it's not. And there's no one even to challenge him. So. Now, if you consider the franchise an extension of the Oilers franchise, then yeah, we could debate it. Yeah, his 20-year-old mistress, he was living two lives. KW where was usually it's like a war zone. Are you talking about fireworks?
So Fritz is in a 5th set battle right now, but they're playing Murray versus another Brit.
Yeah, I don't. Has the match resumed? Because it was suspended at 3-2 in the 5th.
Yeah. Wait, the Fritz one or the Murray one?
The Fitz won. Murray won easily, unless this is a new match.
Peniston?
I don't know.
Whatever. But yeah, because Fritz is good and he's American.
Yeah, he's top 10 in the world.
Yeah. Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday, the 5th of July. Thanks so much for being with us. Mark will be back on Monday. We've got magic numbers, 52, 57, 64. 7.5 weeks away from week 0 of the college football season. 8 weeks tomorrow. Week 1 of the college football season kicks off. Florida, Utah, UCF in action. They've already announced 3 home sellouts. Fan base is all excited about this move to the Big 12. Good for them. And we're just 64 days away from Lions and Chiefs, my oh my. 9 weeks tomorrow. So 52, 57, 64 are the magic numbers. Just catching up. We've been away for a few days. Just catching up. Pat Kirwan, by the way, and Seth Everett next hour. So we've already talked a little bit about the NASCAR race in Chicago. And, if you want to talk about it again, feel free. Chime in, 21,000 on the text line. We won't get to texts as aggressively as we normally do because Mark sits right in front of the text line.
Yeah, Mark is the master of the text line.
Right. Mark does the text line. I do the Twitch chat room. And anyway, so I don't have access to the text line. Felipe does, but he has to leave one room, go into another. And he kind of has a day job in the one room, so he tries not to go into the other very often. So anyway, but 21,000 on the text line. We'll try to get to some of your, best texts throughout the show. And, of course, there's always the Twitch chat room. Miller and Moulton channel, twitch.tv. So this is going back to Sunday. And Felipe, I'm guessing it didn't impact you. But I am guessing along the west coast of Florida, this impacted quite a few people because 2 of the 3 highest rated golf markets in the country are Tampa St. Pete and Fort Myers Naples. That, along with West Palm Beach, those are the top 3 golf markets in the country. And they rotate 1, 2, and 3, honestly, from tournament to tournament, year to year. But that's the big 3. That's why the Golf Channel is based in Orlando. Because, Florida golf, it's the number 1 golf state in the country. So, of course, it made sense for the Golf Channel to get up and move to Connecticut a year and a half ago. Yes, that's right. Connecticut. Golf Channel is based now in Connecticut. Okay. I digress. Back to golf. So, all right. It's going to rain. The tournament's in Detroit, and they want to get the final round in. So they move up the tee times, and they move them up by a lot. They move them up by like 5 hours. Okay. So now they're going to play the tournament. Now, I will say from like 8 a.m., you could turn on ESPN Plus. You could watch the leaders. But that was only until about 11 o'clock. And then for contractual reasons, the coverage moved to the Golf Channel. Okay. So now it moves over to the Golf Channel. Great. Hell of a tournament we got going on here. 3 guys battling for the win. One of them's Morikawa, who hasn't won in 2023. He's 8 under for the day. But the guy who took the lead into Sunday is Ricky Fowler. And Ricky hasn't won in 4 years. And he's kind of a popular guy. And we saw him just fall apart like a tin watch in the final round of the U.S. Open. So we want to see how's he going to handle being in the final group again. Well, he's doing okay. Starts off great, kind of stumbles. Now he's playing from behind. And we're getting late in the round. And for contractual reasons, the Golf Channel couldn't televise any more of the tournament. You see, CBS's coverage was beginning at 3 o'clock. Well, we all know they're going to show basically everything that's already happened. They're just putting it together on tape. Yeah, but for contractual reasons, it's kind of like in the NFL. Remember, how many times have you been watching a game and the game runs long? And at 4:15, all of a sudden they throw it to the Fox guys in Los Angeles or Greg Gumbel in New York, and they go, for contractual reasons, we can't show you the rest of this game. And then they can only show you like one play at a time. Yeah, it's stupid in this day and age. Well, it's the same thing in golf. Apparently by like 2:30, the Golf Channel couldn't show any more live golf. You got Ricky Fowler needing a birdie 18 to get in the playoff. Golf Channel's like, sorry, can't show you any more golf. And CBS's coverage hasn't started yet. You turn on CBS, they're running like a 1-hour golf show. That isn't the golf tournament that's taking place. And so now, was CBS still showing it? Yes, they were. You had to switch over to the CBS Sports app. Most people either A, were not aware of it, or B, didn't do it.
I was about to say that right there is where you lost 80% of Southwest Florida.
Forget Southwest Florida. Tampa St. Pete, West Palm, the country, Felipe. Remember, this is the oldest television audience in sports, the golf audience. Okay? And I'm 57. So, I fit into that demo now. That demo that television, for the most part, doesn't acknowledge exists anymore. I'm in that demo now. Mark's 53. He still counts. He's got another 14 months where he counts. Okay. Actually, he's got 2 years. He's got 2 years and a month till he turns 55. Then he doesn't count anymore. So anyway, it was available. People who are used to streaming, people who are used to watching golf on apps and what have you, they just said, oh, okay. I go ESPN Plus and Golf Channel and CBS Sports app. They didn't miss a thing. They were in the minority. People were losing their minds. And then, of course, they're flipping around the channels. They're looking for golf. Well, here's the funny thing. There's actually a few people that stumbled upon the golf on the CW, the LIV tournament. Here's the funny thing. That tournament was in Spain. So that tournament was tape delayed. So from 3 to 6 on CBS, you had the PGA tournament in Detroit. That was, hell, the tournament was basically over by the time CBS ran their coverage from 3 to 6. They just had to figure out what they were going to edit. It would be like us taking our normal show and deciding to condense it into an hour. What segments are we going to run? And that's what CBS was doing. Meanwhile, the LIV tournament, good tournament, by the way. Taylor Gooch beat DeChambeau by a stroke, his third win of the year. Yeah, that was on tape delay because it was in Spain. It was 5 hours ahead. So it's running from 3 to 6 on the CW for those that are big golf fans. Hell, that result's already over. So at 3:30, 4 o'clock, if you're watching CBS, you're watching the CW, hell, those tournaments are over. Meanwhile, if you turned on NBC, they're running the U.S. Senior Open, and Dan Hicks is telling you right off the top, hey, congratulations to Ricky Fowler for getting back in the win column. We'll see Ricky in 2 weeks at the Open Championship. Blah, 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 blah. Now back to Bernhard Langer making history. By the way, he's 117 years old. He won again. 46th senior win, most all time. Beat Hale Irwin's record of 45, which most people thought no one's ever going to get close to this. So now here's the problem. Like Mr. Traffic in our Twitch chat room said, terrible call by CBS not to run the event live in the morning. Well, first off, the event was live in the morning. It was on ESPN Plus and the Golf Channel. But CBS has in the morning, CBS Sunday morning, 90-minute show, makes them a ton of money, tens of millions of dollars a year. And they have Face the Nation. They're not preempting those news programs. That's 2 hours. That's money in their pocket, baby. Big time money. Tens of millions of dollars. They're not preempting that for the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. Are you serious? With, by the way, one of the worst fields of the year. And the way it works and Felipe, you now know this, working in, control rooms and production now, there's a relationship between the network and the affiliates. The affiliates know the programming the network's going to provide every day. Now, could they have preempted the news and run sports? Yes, they could have. But when they were done with their news at 11 a.m., the local affiliates had control of their station for the next 3 hours. CBS, or till 1 o'clock anyway, when they ran bull riding. So CBS would have had to preempt 2 hours of news, which they make a fortune, the bull riding, their special golf show for the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and they would have had to have alerted 400 affiliates of what they were doing and make plans and the whole deal. I'm telling you, behind the scenes, it is a cluster for CBS to pick up the phone and say, by the way, scrap everything, we're running golf. Remember, affiliates in Central, Mountain, and Western time zones, they're doing local newscasts. They ain't dropping local newscasts to run golf. So
frustrating.
It was, there's no doubt. It was and it shows the problem of outdated television contracts. And we all understand. I mean, think about it. CBS, NBC, who's ever airing the event, they want their 3-hour window protected. They don't want anybody to be able to go anywhere else and watch their event. They want to watch it from 3 to 6. They sold the advertising, etc. Now, CBS was still showing it, and you could have seen it on the CBS Sports app. But how many of you made the transition? I'm guessing very few.
And such a long win coming for Ricky, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Dramatic. It was awesome. And by the way, you saw it. You just saw it 3 hours after it actually happened, which, by the way, a generation or so ago, nobody had a problem with. Remember, the Miracle on Ice was tape delay. I mean, the greatest sporting event in the history of our nation was on tape delay. People along the Canada border knew the result because they were watching it live on Canadian television at 5 o'clock. It aired in the United States 8 to 11 on ABC. And nobody had a problem with it 40 years ago. Now, something like that happens. It's an outrage. This is a joke. The tour, the network, get with the program. It's 2023. When really what they want to say to their audience is, how about you guys get with the program? It's called streaming. It's called apps. Figure it out. Miller and Moulton. The Clutch Vodka play of the day coming up. And I don't think Felipe's decided what it is. Next.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now, Baby Jules, when you said ESPN only had featured groups, were you talking about at like 8 a.m.? Or are you talking about after the coverage went to the Golf Channel? No, Wes, what happens is, like, say there's a weather delay, which has happened, particularly a few Miami games late in recent years have had weather delays. They'll switch away, they'll go to another game, and then in the markets where that game is supposed to be seen, when play resumes, you go back to the Dolphins game. And if the game runs long, the game runs long. And if it runs till 5 o'clock and there's supposed to be a doubleheader game, you miss the first quarter of the second game.
Play of the day is ready to go.
Mr. Traffic, true story. A buddy of mine who may be watching this morning, Jason in the Dallas area. So he's a big golf guy. And he just went from ESPN Plus to app. He was fine. He then he went to a local watering hole. He starts betting on shots with guys, knowing what happened. No, Wes. No, I know one time we were doing a Fox game that ran really long. But Wes, it's difficult to imagine. Think about it. Even the 425 games, they have 4 hours to get their game done before Sunday Night Football kicks off. Well, like if the game goes overtime and the game ends at 10 to 8 or 8 o'clock, then, and if by chance they were to overlap, they overlap. But no, they would never force CBS or Fox to turn their game off. Wes, I think the only rules are like when CBS and Fox have a late game, I don't know if they're allowed to run highlights of other games past like 7:30. I think, they can fill to like 7:30 and then it's kind of like you got to get off the air because NBC's got 7 o'clock and highlights and then the game at 8:20. No. Mongo, I said a solid SEC on CBS game.
So what, like Florida at Kentucky?
That wouldn't do 4 million. That would probably do 3 million. Now, Florida at Tennessee, that would do 5 million.
Right.
Early in the season, 4.5 to 5 million.
What about Bama, Ole Miss?
Anything with Bama is a minimum of 4 million.
Gotcha.
If Alabama's playing, it's 4 million. Unless they're playing it's a really bad game and it gets bad early and we're going up against good competition. Then maybe it'll only do 3.5.
Ten seconds.
Oh, the Iron Bowl does a minimum of 7 million. Minimum.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark off till Monday. Magic numbers, 52, 57, 64. 52 days until week 0. Notre Dame Navy in Ireland, USC in action. 57 days away, 8 weeks tomorrow till the Gators kick off their season in Utah. Gators having a hell of an offseason, raising a bunch of money, doing well on the recruiting trail. Don't have a quarterback, though. Have a really tough schedule. We'll see if they can make any progress this year. And 64 days, 9 weeks tomorrow, Lions and Chiefs and the NFL season getting underway. Hell, we're 2 weeks away from rookies reporting to training camp, 3 weeks away from veterans. I mean, you're making it, folks. You do it. The Phil Steele book is out. You can do this. You're right there. Come on, we got an all-star game. We got a British Open. I mean, just U.S. Women's Open at Pebble this weekend. I mean, come on. We can get you there.
There's stuff going on.
Yeah. Got the Rays in first, the Marlins in the playoffs. Come on now. For the record, and I know that I'm literally the only person in America who likes this idea. If, see, I can't even say Miller and Moulton. Like usually we both are nice enough to lump the other one in. Like if it's Mark's point of view, for the most part, he'll go, here on Miller and Moulton, we think, if he's like the dominant opinion on a subject. And if I'm the dominant opinion, I do the same. Yeah, Mark wants no part of this idea, has never wanted any part of this idea. This is me splitting the baseball season in half. We're past the halfway point now. It happened over this the whole 4th of July holiday weekend.
Well,
So
then,
for the record, here you go. If David Moulton was running Major League Baseball, congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays, the Minnesota Twins, and the Texas Rangers. You're in the playoffs. Congratulations to the Braves and the Diamondbacks. And by the way, we would have had a one-game playoff for the Reds and the Brewers because they were both 43 and 38 after 81 games. Winner wins the first half title. Yeah. So you're in, baby.
well, I'm not too far off from Mark because I also strongly disagree on this. That is the most unbaseball-like thing I've ever heard.
Okay. All right.
It's creative. I'll give you that, but it's not a major league season. Part of the journey is the journey. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, you could look at it that way. You could also say, it's a pretty long journey. It's 81 games. It's 3 months. And just so you know, an NHL and NBA season are 82. I mean, Major League Baseball plays 2 hockey and basketball seasons. They do. They play 2. And they call it a regular season. But anyway, that's how it would have wrapped up. And yeah, I know what happens if the first half champion wins the second half. Trust me, I got it all figured out. I do. It's not a problem. We go with then the team in the division that had the second best record over 162 games. So if the Braves win the second half as well, that's how the Marlins can make the playoffs. Yeah, don't worry about it. I got it all figured out. And apparently it's never going to happen, which is funny because there's not much that baseball hasn't changed in the last 30 years. But apparently they're not going to go here. Just for the minors. Only in the minors do they do this. Not in the majors. But
we're just
waiting. Felipe, it's exciting. Miller and Moulton, see, I can lump the two of us together now. Miller and Moulton have been doing this for 17 years. There are not many times that the Marlins have contended for a playoff spot late in the season during those 17 years. In fact, I think they've done so twice, and one of them was the abbreviated pandemic 60-game season, which doesn't really count.
Right. Most Marlins fans would discredit that season because they didn't even play 50% of a major league season.
Well, they did make the playoffs and won a playoff series. So I mean, when you're the Marlins, I don't know if you can technically discredit that. You played baseball in October. I think you find a way to count it, even if you need to put an asterisk next to the banner somewhere. I think if you're the Marlins, I think you need to count it. It'd be like the Sacramento Kings not counting a playoff appearance, if you know what I mean. There's just been so damn many of them. No, we're being picky. So, and speaking of basketball quickly, I would advise those of you, say you're a Miami Heat fan, Felipe, and you're waiting every day for Damian Lillard get traded yet? This could take a long time.
Yes.
This could take till September. This could take till February. I mean, remember, last summer at this time, Durant was saying to the Brooklyn Nets, I'm never going to put your uniform on again. Guess what? Played half a season before he ended up in Phoenix. I mean, and I forget what was the other major deal that was done recently in which it didn't take place until mid to late September, right? His training camps were getting underway. I think it was Harden.
Okay. Well, Harden re-signed with Philly, yes.
No. But no. This is when Harden, I think, left Houston, and he said, I'm done. They didn't trade him right away, because wasn't he involved in the Ben Simmons trade? That trade happened. I think training camps were even underway.
No, he was traded from Houston to Brooklyn in the midst of the early part of the 21 season.
Okay. So Yeah, Lillard has said, I want out. And he's going to be traded. There's no doubt he's going to be traded. For those that are like, you know what? Take a few days off from it. In fact, ignore it. Stop
Yes.
paying attention.
Right. Because this just in, Damian Lillard, like Kevin Durant, is worth a lot. He's only one of the 75 greatest players this game has ever seen.
But the Heat don't have enough assets to get him for Portland's liking, so they're going to have to work another team into the trade. Lillard's making over $50 million on average. I mean, this is complicated. The Heat need help. It's going to take some time. Every day that goes by the way, advantage Heat. But just for those chomping at the bit, take a deep breath. It's going to take a while, but it's going to be okay. He's going to end up in Miami. Time now for the Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, did you settle on one?
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of places I could have gone here. I mean, we haven't had a show since last Friday. But, you know, when a 34-year-old NASCAR rookie wins his first NASCAR race ever in the first road course that we've ever seen like this ever in NASCAR history, it's pretty clutch.
But now here he comes, battle for the lead. Shane Van Gisbergen to the inside and to the lead of turn 2 with less than 5 to go here in Chicago.
He has navigated the streets of Chicago to perfection. The final time onto the front stretch. He comes to the checkered flag. He's won the very first street race in NASCAR.
SVG picking up his first win in his NASCAR career. He's like a hired gun. I mean, they just brought him in and he's off. He's back to Europe.
I love them calling him SVG. And I'm like, wow, it's nice of Stan Van Gundy to win his NASCAR debut.
I thought the same thing all day.
SVG, I'm like, what? Scott Van Pelt's racing NASCAR? What's going on here? He did something that hadn't been done in 60 years. Johnny Rutherford had never raced in NASCAR. He got in a NASCAR and he won, I think, the Daytona 500, but he won his first ever NASCAR race. No one else had done that until SVG did Sunday in Chicago. Your thoughts, by the way, on whether or not you liked the race? More people have liked it than didn't, but those that didn't, man, they hated it. Oh, the negative comments are ouch. By the way, highest rated NASCAR race on NBC in 5.5 years. So there will be another city race. We don't know if it'll be in Chicago, but they will do this again. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN play of the day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the play of the day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka play of the day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, who is it that's chastising here in the Twitch chat room? Paul. Actually, Damian Lillard was voted. The NBA did their own top 75 list. Lillard made it. That's why Felipe said he was one of the 75 best. The NBA came out with their top 75 of all time, and he made it. He was 68. Felipe, what I don't know if you noticed, though, on that list, because you believe he's the greatest trailblazer of all time, Clyde Drexler was 20 spots ahead of him on the list. He was like 46.
That list wasn't in order. It was in alphabetical order.
No, I just went through
the official one that the NBA put out. There was not an order.
Well, the Athletic did it by order.
Oh,
the Athletic listed them 1 to 75.
Well, that's the Athletic. They probably
no. I know though. They took the NBA list and so.
Yeah, I see here. Yeah. 1 MJ, 2 LeBron, 3 Kareem, 4 Bill Russell, 5 Magic Johnson.
So they had Drexler coming in, I think, between 46 and 48, and they had Lillard at 68.
Well, again, I'm saying that in his career isn't even over.
Well, Mongo, here's the thing. Walton only played for the Blazers for like 5 years.
Also, again, I'm not this kind of guy who makes this judgment just on the numbers, but his numbers aren't that crazy. Bill Walton's numbers. I know he was a revolutionary big man and all, but Embiid's got better numbers than him.
He's the best passing big man of all time, though.
No, it's Jokic.
No, I know. Actually, it really is Bill Walton. It really is. It is.
He just averaged a triple double in the
No. I'm not saying his stats aren't better. I'm just saying, okay. Larry Bird didn't lead the league in assists. It's tough to find a guy who passed the ball better than Larry Bird. I mean, just saying. Bill Walton, listen, you're right. He only played more than 67 games once in his season. He never averaged 20 points a game. Okay, his numbers don't add up. I'm telling you, he's the best passing big man of all time.
Who was a better passer, Larry Bird or LeBron?
Bird. Close. I will say, here's another thing, Felipe. The offenses were much tighter in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay, it's all space. The passes aren't as hard now as they used to be because there's so much spacing. Passing was a lot harder when some of these guys play.
Right, you're not just kicking it out for three.
and you ran a lot more sets, and the passing had to be more precision, but
a lot more cutters.
You could make the argument, by the way. I mean, a hell of a debate. Best college player of all time between Alcindor and Walton. That's
you don't throw Pistol Pete in there.
You win all those championships. You're playing all those big games. Maravich, by the way, made the list. Top 75 players.
Yeah, but college, I mean.
Oh, his numbers are sick.
His numbers are stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
Like 40 points per game for his career. Before a 3-point line.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark is back on Monday. So, we're at the time of the year where everybody's ranking. They're doing their lists. And we're not big list folks on this show. Never have been. But occasionally we will throw a list out there, not because we believe in it, but we're just curious your reaction to it. So, and I hesitate to ever do a list from ESPN because ESPN will do things just to get clicks.
Absolutely.
But the NFL department, if you will, on ESPN.com, they said, okay, it's July 1st. They did this over the weekend. Rosters are basically set. I know there's about 15 decent players that could still be signed, but we're going to rank rosters. Just the rosters. Felipe, you're a huge Dolphin fan. You are a believer in the Dolphins roster, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Top to bottom on paper, they're stacked.
Okay. Where would you rank the Dolphins out of 32? Gut feeling. Where would they rank roster-wise? Before we get our first player injured, before Mike White has to fill in for Tua, etc.
I'm going to say 5 or 6.
Wow. That's high. In the whole league.
Yes.
Wow. That's really, I understand. I know exactly what I asked you. And Felipe, for as high of a grade and a rank as you gave the Dolphins, you did not rank them as highly as ESPN ranked their roster. They ranked the Dolphins as the 4th best roster in the league. Now, this is roster. Obviously, coaching, quarterback play, injuries, we all know. Difference between roster and record. Big. Look at the Chargers. Chargers have had top 10 rosters for years. Look at how well they've done. So they rank the Chiefs as the best roster, which I have to admit, I don't think I would. Now, I can say they're the best team, but, Andy Reid plays a role in that. Patrick Mahomes plays a rather significant role in that.
I think the Eagles have a better roster than the Chiefs.
Thank you. And the Eagles are number 2.
Yeah.
The Bills are 3. So according to ESPN, the Dolphins roster takes a back seat to only the 2 teams who played in the Super Bowl and the team the Dolphins lost to in the playoffs last year. They rank their roster as better than Cincinnati. By the way, Dallas's roster viewed as 6th best. I don't agree with that. I think that's slightly high, only slightly. Because also, ESPN has the Cowboys then as the 2nd best roster in the NFC. They have the Niners 8th as the 3rd best roster in the NFC. Chargers, by the way, 7th best roster. You talk about the pressure that's on Staley, the head coach, especially since Herbert's going to get his contract here. Now, I don't think he gets it first. I think Burrow does. But here's the other thing going on. We've been talking about this now for a while. And ESPN, for what it's worth, is backing Miller and Moulton up. So, Felipe, if the Eagles, Cowboys, and Niners have 3 of the top 8 rosters, name the next team in the NFC.
Ooh, the Vikings.
Wow, Felipe, you are on a roll. The Vikings have the 4th best roster in the NFC. Now, tell me where they rank.
14th.
You know what, Felipe? Very good guess. Very solid. Lower.
Ooh, 16.
16th.
16.
So think about what ESPN is saying, what we have been saying for a few months, which is the AFC is stacked. And that there are going to be teams, and coaches are going to lose their job, GMs are going to lose their job, players are going to get told they're losers, and they're on teams in the AFC that are like, man, if we were in the NFC, we'd be like the third, fourth best team. These are all the AFC teams ranked ahead of the Vikings. Well, do the math. If the Vikings are the fourth best NFC team, and there's only 3 NFC teams ahead of the Vikings, oh, I'm sorry, Felipe. I made a mistake. Seattle, fourth best team at 12. So of the first 11 teams, according to ESPN's NFL rankings, 8 of them are AFC, which means according to ESPN, the Ravens, who have the 11th best roster in the league, will not make the playoffs. Now, obviously, they could, coaching, injuries, the whole deal. But if you think about it, if you're only the 8th best team in a conference that has 7 playoff spots, I believe that has you home for the playoffs. So think about it. Between the Chiefs and the Bills and the Dolphins and the Bengals and the Chargers and the Browns, by the way, I've seen a lot of lists lately in which the Cleveland Browns roster is top 10 in the league. Browns come in at 9, Jets at 10, Ravens at 11.
Which, by the way, again, this is just ESPN doing ESPN things. Are we sure that the Cowboys have a better roster than the Seahawks?
Not sure that they do. I think it's close.
Because I know that they do not have a better roster than the Niners.
Who, the Cowboys?
Yeah.
I would agree. I would go with the Niners roster over the Cowboys. But so here's the other thing at work. If Seattle's the 4th best roster in the NFC and they're 12, and Minnesota's the 5th best roster and they're 16, Detroit at 17 and the Giants at 18. That's how you get to the 7 NFC playoff teams. You got to go down to the bottom half of the league to get 2 NFC playoff teams. Now, if you believe ESPN's right, and by the way, I think they have the Jaguars a little low at 15. I actually think Jacksonville's roster is a little better than that. Like, whose roster would you want right now, Denver's or Jacksonville? They have Denver at 13, Jacksonville at 15. I think that's close. Which quarterback you have more faith in right now? How amazing of a question is that? If I had asked that question a year ago, what quarterback do you have more faith in? Russell Wilson or Trevor Lawrence? People would literally say, what is this blankety blank doing on the radio? Seriously? You can't find anybody else better than that?
By the way, Calvin Ridley coming back too. I mean, who has a better wide receiving core, you know?
Well, don't know if they have a number 1, but they may have 4 number 2s.
Exactly.
So, take it for what it's worth. 8 of the top 11 teams AFC, which means there's a good chance that a team that ESPN feels has a top 10 roster in the league is not going to make the playoffs this year. Hell, maybe 2 of them don't. But the reason that I wanted to mention it is, are the Dolphins really that good? Are they really that solid and we're not giving them the credit because, well, they're the Dolphins? Now, for a generation of us, we still think the Dolphins are not a regal franchise. They're not the Shula Dolphins anymore. But we still look at the Dolphins and we think that, that's not a laughing stock franchise. We don't look at the Dolphins and think Lions. We don't look at the Dolphins and think Browns. We don't think Jags, Falcons. You know what? Cardinals. Their record over the last 20 years, though, not very good.
Again, you go to my lifetime.
Right. You're like
all those teams that you said.
Yeah. But remember, what have the Dolphins done here in the last? I mean, haven't they had 3 straight winning seasons here? Or just something that, 3 straight winning seasons they've had.
500 or more.
Now, they haven't won a playoff game, but I believe they've had 3 straight winning seasons. Anyway, are the Dolphins really that good? And we're sleeping on them and not giving them the credit because, well, they're the Miami Dolphins. I mean, listen, remember 3 years ago when Brady chose the Bucs? I mean, we on Miller and Moulton were one of the few shows outside of Tampa St. Pete that said, that's a really good roster. That's a good team that was held back by their quarterback. I mean, most people went, oh my goodness, Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. Man, nobody wanted him, I guess, huh? My goodness. I mean, he did go to the losingest franchise in the history of North American sports at the time he chose them by winning percentage. I mean, no big deal or anything. Yes, worse than the Kings, worse than name the loser franchise of loser franchises. The Bucs winning percentage when Brady joined them was worse than every other franchise in North American pro sports history that was active.
Yet
and now we're back to, I'm sorry, Felipe, what?
Yet they have Super Bowl or had Super Bowls before Brady.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Bucs 27th best roster. According to ESPN's roster rankings, the Saints will win the South. Carolina, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay, back to back to back, 25, 26, 27. The Saints are 19th. Cardinals, worst roster in the league. Here's a stunner. I don't know if I can believe this or not. The Rams with the second worst roster in the league. A year ago at this time, they were the defending Super Bowl champions.
Well, they set themselves up for this, did they not? I mean, they basically gave away their future.
Yeah, no, I get it. But still, and they lost some guys because their contracts were up and that guys got hurt. But Felipe, I mean, the Rams had a 6-year run where they were contenders. They went to 2 Super Bowls. They win the Super Bowl. It's tough to go from 1 to 31 in 15 months. So that's another one. Wow, is ESPN really right? I mean, which one do you think ESPN's more accurate about? Miami at 4 or the Rams at 31?
They could be a little better than 31.
I mean, if Aaron Donald shows up, aren't they better than 31? If Stafford's healthy and Cooper Kupp is healthy and Aaron Donald, if they all get on the team bus, are you sure they're the second worst roster in the league?
If they all play at least 15 games, certainly no.
But remember, we're just ranking rosters. Okay, we're not even talking about what they're going to produce.
Right.
But so there you go. I just thought it was interesting. First off, a lot of people saying that the Browns are a top 10 roster. If that's the case, is Cleveland the candidate? There's one team most years that goes from worst to first. Is Cleveland that candidate? Most people don't think so because the division's too tough. I nominated Atlanta, by the way, as the best chance to go from worst to first in the division. So Cleveland in a lot of top 10 lists lately. And ESPN came out over the weekend and said the Dolphins have the 4th best roster in the league. Tell you what, name me an area of weakness. If healthy, I wish the offensive line was better. I wish their inside backers were a little better. They can rush the passer. They got 3 guys who can cover. They have 2 shutdown corners. Hell, they may even add Dalvin Cook.
It'll be tough, though. Like you said, 12 out of those 15 teams, all in the AFC.
Miller and Moulton. Talk about this with Pat Kirwan coming up at the top of the hour. Seth Everett will join us in 45 minutes' time. Hope you've had a terrific 4th of July holiday. Try to stay cool. We're talking record heat here. Mark will be back on Monday. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Pat.
Good morning, fellas.
Hey, man, how'd your 4th go?
Good. I'm on Cape Cod with all of my grandkids and my kids, so it's fun. My daughter Elizabeth has a big house on the water here, so 9 grandkids run around like lunatics, and me doing a radio show every day while they're here. So it's been fun, challenging, fun. Bum, 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 bum. I listened to your conversation there.
Okay.
The Rams are really bad.
That is a stunning fall from grace, though, isn't it? To go from winning the Super Bowl, whether you thought they were the best roster or not, they clearly were a top, 6 roster, to 31st in 18 months is quite the fall.
They were rental. You know that. They just rented players, and they got what they deserved, a win. Then they wore the stupid T-shirt, F the draft, and now they're F'd by the draft.
Right.
And
They
so
set themselves up for this.
Yeah, and a little bit of me thinks and you kind of an advocate for this, David. There's a team or two that ought to think about doing it themselves because they keep banging their head against the top and never getting over.
Well, listen, if I got a Josh Allen, I mean, they're doing the slow and steady thing in Buffalo, but you gotta win that final game once.
I hear too many owners going, we just got to make the playoffs. I think they live in a world of what it takes to get over the top ruins the roster, which is the GM telling them that, or it costs too much. I think they feel like a lot of owners, they would never admit it. I think they feel good about winning 2 or 3 rounds of the playoffs every year. They like to be the Buffalo Bills. The old Buffalo Bills. Anyway, where is Mark? Is he playing golf?
No, he's on vacation. First part of his vacation, they were going to be tourists in D.C.
Oof.
I think that ended yesterday. Then I think they're in a cabin in the Carolinas for a few days, and then they head to Pittsburgh.
Oh, I got you. None of it sounds like fun.
He was really looking forward to the tourist stuff, which is unlike him. But, to see, the Smithsonian, the White House, he was signed up for a bunch of tours. Problem is the weather was horrible. So I'm curious how much of it they did.
Yeah. It's, there's a lot of smoke on the east.
Well, it's not just the smoke. I mean, I think, the mid-Atlantic there, I think had storms.
Yeah, there's storms around. You can see them offshore here. I don't know. I keep getting notices that I lost power at my house at West Bay. Not that I care since I'm up here. What was going on with that? Yesterday there was no power in the place, and then the internet was out, and they just sent me notices. So,
wow, good thing you're not there. That'd be a problem.
Yeah. All right, boys, here we go. I am really interested in drilling down into Felipe's mindset.
Words that have never been spoken before.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. It is the first day after the holiday for some of you, 4-day weekend. But hope you had a safe and happy 4th. Miller and Moulton mark off until Monday, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kirwan joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West, all points in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Hope you had a good 4th. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you guys. And it's a time of year that I'm still drilling down through every position group so I can arrive at the reality of what I think everyone's rosters are. So we're very specific, like defensive line. No, we do defensive inside players. Then we do the outside players because they're a totally different crowd. And there's players that sub in and out. So doing all that, I'm going to start inside linebackers on Monday. That's an easy group to deal with, although it's funny to see how many teams have gravitated into 4-2 defenses, and now they're carrying 2 linebackers and 4 in total, where the old school guys would carry 6 linebackers. So where did those extra players go? To the secondary, because they're all playing sub defense. So those are the things we're doing. Overhauling linebackers, amazing. There's like 6 teams that have just completely got rid of their inside linebackers and are getting new ones. But I heard you guys talking before about the Rams. I am not shocked as we're doing our breakdown per position group. I'll give you a quick example. The Rams on pass rush, the outside, forget Aaron Donald. He only can play one spot. When you look at the outside line, the guys who rush the passer, not named Donald, on a scale of 1 to 20, the average score is 15. They got a 4. A 4. Here's the reality. The entire pass rush group, the whole group that goes into that room every morning for the meeting, they have a complete total of 6 starts and 4.5 sacks. They stink.
And you don't normally talk that way about NFL teams and position
They're the
groups.
only team to ever get a 4 in any group of any exercise we put ourselves through. A 4.
Now, I know you're not done yet, so you haven't done the total and therefore added it up and ranked rosters from 1 to 32. But since you were listening, you were kind of in queue last segment. All right. Is there anything in ESPN's list that you so far vehemently disagree with, right? They have the Dolphins as a top 5 roster. The Browns as a top 10 roster. When you're doing the math group by group, does this add up?
I don't want to sound arrogant, and I'm not. I respect everyone's work, but I would not be reading the ESPN breakdown of the rosters.
And I said that at the beginning. They do a lot of things for clicks, and these are not,
And it's just a guessing game for them. And I know, God bless them, because when I worked for all these .coms, NFL.com, CBS.com, all of them, they love lists. And I hate it. I left one of those networks because that's all they wanted me to do is put lists together. What we're doing takes 3 months, and it takes 4 hours per morning to get ready for the afternoon. So it's 8 hours a day, and it's grinding. And it's and if you're not doing that, you're really not doing it. And so, no, I don't look at lists. But I will say this: you want my top 5 teams that I think are going to finish?
Well, I'll tell you what. How about before
Miami's
you give the top
not on
5?
it.
Okay. Is there a team that, as you're going position group by position group, that you're going, this team's better than I thought?
There's always a team like that. Now, let me start at the other end. Worse than I thought. Arizona is bad, but they're worse than I thought. The Rams, worse than I thought. A team that's starting to look like they're on their way to doing something are the Falcons. Now, the quarterback's a big issue. Who knows how he's going to play? But so far in their position groups, they're starting to have some momentum to them. The only reason they're going to pick the Saints is because they're the only team with a legitimate quarterback. Although if you asked a Raider fan, they'd say, take it easy. Who do I like that no one's talking about? That's a tough question. Now, I do think Denver, if they get the quarterback going again, picking up Frank Clark really helped them, and they needed that help. Baltimore, to me, I wish was doing a little better, to tell you the truth. Baltimore's defense. I mean, that's their backbone. That's what they're known for. And you start looking at their pass rush group, they got a 12. In a division where the Bengals got 17, Cleveland got 18, and Pittsburgh got 18. When did you think Baltimore in the pass rush group would be the 4th place team?
Well, I also think, Harbaugh made the coordinator change, and Martindale has his flaws, but, Wink got pressure on passers. Now, he blitzed like hell to do it, but Wink Martindale, for 6-7 years there in Baltimore, got pressure on quarterbacks.
Correct. When you go pass rush groups, and I think you have a partner with you today. I don't know. He must be reading his phone.
No. He's listening to you.
No, I want to talk to him. He hears me all the time. Come on, Felipe, jump in here.
I mean,
speechless.
What do you want me to say?
Well, I'm going to get to your Dolphins. Ready?
There you go. Here we go.
Pass rush groups. Ready? The number 1 team with depth and quality of players, Buffalo, 19 points out of 20. Then we have New England with 15. Then we have the Jets with 14. Then we have the Dolphins with 13.5. Sorry, Felipe. But they said they were a top 5 roster.
I'll tell you what, I think you're overrating the Bills' defense.
No, I'm not. I'm curious. Here it is. You ready? Von Miller, Rousseau. They pick up Floyd. They have Lawson. They have Epinesa and Basham. No team has that many guys that played last year and have gotten to the quarterback. They have depth. So when Von Miller goes down, Floyd slides over with Rousseau, and Lawson and Epinesa slide in behind him. Do you know there's teams on this that don't even have 4 guys?
Listen, I'm totally with you about the Floyd signing. Loved it because I think a lot of those guys, Lawson's hit or miss, Rousseau's been hit or miss. They just gave all the money to Oliver. He's been hit or miss. But Miller and Floyd are studs. One's a Hall of Famer, and the other guy's 9 to 11 sacks a year if he's healthy.
Yeah. And Rousseau, people didn't like Rousseau. You know why they didn't like him? Because he had to do it without Von Miller. He's not a 1, he's a 2. Now he's got Floyd on the other side when Von Miller goes down. And if Von Miller's not ready to go on opening day, they're ready to go. Turn around and look at those Dolphins. Jay Phillips is exactly the same guy as Rousseau. They went to college together, and their production's the same. He's a 2. But on the Dolphins, he has to be the 1 because Bradley Chubb is starting to slide the wrong way.
Well, and how much of this don't you think we find out this year? Was it defensive coaching? Remember, they got pressure on the quarterback with Flores. Flores wasn't there last year. They didn't get pressure on the quarterback. Now they're bringing in one of the top 3 defensive coordinators in the game. Don't you think we find out now how much of it's personnel and how much of it was coaching?
It's funny when they snap the ball, the players have to rush the quarterback, not the coach. And these players, I'm going to just go to Miami again. Behind Chubb and Phillips, there's nobody. You don't like Lawson, you call them hit or miss. Epinesa, Basham. You want to see what's behind them? Van Ginkel, half a sack. Malik Reed, 1 sack. Cam Goody, practice squad. Those are the 3 guys behind their starters. No depth.
That's one position, Pat.
Oh, no. Do you really want him to go offensive line? Okay. Because this is where, I'm sorry, there's no hits on that offensive line.
I'm not gonna
all misses.
I'm not gonna let Pat make me lose faith about Dolphins.
Oh, I don't want you to lose faith. I have faith in them, but I'm not going to tell you they're a top 5 team. That's ludicrous. That's just someone who wants them to be good. And that's wishful thinking. I don't have a horse in a race, so I just grade them. And when you start grading them, offensive line, here we go. Buffalo 17. New England 15, the Jets 17, Miami 14. Worst offensive line in division.
Now I remember hearing your Jets grade live, and you like their tackles more than I do. Okay, but still, it's clearly the worst offensive line in the league is the Dolphins. In the division.
In the division.
Yeah.
So when the game is, well, most of us would accept that the game is played up front with your hand on the ground. That's really important. So what are we starting to say here? You look at the 5 linemen and the people that have to rush the passer and play the run up front, and you couple those together, like Tennessee for a long time was the best in the league. They weren't a great team, but they were really good in the trenches. Miami is not looking. Now, I love the Miami defensive tackles. Now, I don't want to get to Tua because I don't want to start another discussion. I thought Michael Vick, this is right to you, Felipe. What about Michael Vick's comments about what our friends should be doing?
I heard that.
For those that didn't hear it, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pat and Felipe, didn't Vick say he needs to put on 10 to 15 pounds and he just flat out needs to avoid getting hit?
Yeah, that's cool. Get rid of the ball and be physically stronger to take the pounding. And Mike was talking about, you grow into a man's body. He was inferring that he has a kid's body still. So I hope he does that part. The jiu-jitsu is a joke because jiu-jitsu is played on the ground. It's not played in the air. We're here.
Well, Pat, I love he's learning how to fall. Where in jiu-jitsu is a 300-pound guy at a full rate of speed hitting you and burying you into the ground? I mean, there is no learning how to fall if they hold on to you as they're sending you to the ground.
That's right. It's driving the guy. And I had this discussion with a Dolphin fan the other day. I said, you think I'm against Tua. I'm not against Tua, but they don't fall at quarterback. They get smashed into the ground. He's been sacked over 60 times, and his body is having a hard time handling that.
Here's the other thing, and Pat, you tell me, he's the type of quarterback, and they're the type of team where if you're a defensive coach, you would take a 15-yard penalty to try to get him out of the game. Okay, that he's brittle, and you're not supposed to drive him into the ground. But if you get a chance early in that game with Tua, you're going to drive him into the ground. You'll take 15 yards and see whether he gets up.
There's not a defensive player in this league that worries about the rules when they can eliminate a quarterback. It's football. That's what we love about it.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains, by the way, 3 to 7 weekdays. He worked yesterday. In fact, he loves working the holidays. It's a totally different audience. He and Jim were talking with the peeps yesterday. And he's also part of CBS's NFL Today show, and CBS has the Super Bowl this year. Pat joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. His training camp tours will begin in about a month. But Pinchers, from Tampa to Key West and all points in between, Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. When we come back with Pat, we're going to talk to him about why is it, for as much as we love football, we don't love this. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Pat, can you break down what goes into the grading system?
Sure. I mean, every position group's different, obviously, but I'll just take pass rushers first. Felipe, I did not know that you're at Felipe from Miami. I didn't know you got that detailed about your home country.
Right. You know, I am so happy that you called it a home country, because Miami is not a city. It is a country.
It is a country, mostly South American. But,
oh, respect to you, Pat.
Well, it's all good. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You have, it's interesting to me watching you, because you have different signals to me that we're going to wrap it up. We're moving on. You're different than marks. Sometimes I have no idea what marks mean, but I know what yours. When you started doing the roll, okay, we're rolling out. I got it. You know,
right.
Sometimes when Mark does one of these, I don't know what the hell that means.
It's because I'm rolling the signal to Mark, and then Mark is
the
bridge.
Next weekend, Saratoga for the opening weekend. I can't wait. I'll see the old Parcells up there and a couple other guys.
Who else joins him?
He has an old buddy who I think was his high school coach, who was there for many years. I don't know if Corcoran, I think his name was. He used to come.
Didn't he pass away?
He did pass away, but that's who he used to go with. That was his guy. And when I sat with him last year, he was alone. Now, people come over and bullshit with him, but he comes and goes by himself. Occasionally has his girlfriend with him.
Does Francesa
never
show up?
No. He used Francesa for what he needed him for in New York. He got rid of him. But Chris Mara who always lends me his box. Chris is 2 boxes down. So Chris and Bill had a couple of horses together. So that's kind of like their deal. I don't like bugging him too much, but before the race, if he has no horse in a race, he's fun to talk to. If he's coming up on a race with one of his horses, he's impossible. If the horse loses, I just don't even go down over there anymore. Then I'm going to Austria for the hockey thing, and then I'm coming back, and the day I come back, I go right on a camp tour.
Hold on a second. You're going to Austria?
Brady's made his American team playing in Austria. His first 4 games are Germany, Sweden, Norway, and Austria.
So when are you going?
I'm going on the 22nd of July, Saturday. He plays that. I have to fly into Venice and then drive over. It's only a 2-hour drive to the city where the tournament is. And then he's got games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning. And Friday, I'm driving back to Venice, and I'm on the flight on Saturday morning.
Now, I'm assuming you're taking the week off, right?
I finally decided to take the week off.
Good. I'm glad.
I really was tempted to do it because the radio show over there would go on like at 10 o'clock at night. And I'd have put him to bed and all that business. But no, I'm going to take the week off, watch hockey, and
Good. And then you'll be rested up for your training camp tour.
When I land at Newark on Saturday at 5 o'clock, I think I just go down the hall and get on the flight to Boston and go.
Oh, I was going to say, were you going to drive to the Patriots?
I'm going to fly because I don't have my car with me, and I'm landing, and I'll catch up to Jimmy. Jimmy's going to come from Chicago and fly into New England, so we'll all meet at the same place. That's it. So when I leave for Austria, I ain't done till about August 20th. Not really looking forward to that. Got to do it. Felipe, you want to come on a camp tour?
Oh, God.
Sure.
It'd be all over it.
Love to.
You'd have to tell them to be quiet.
We're not getting to Miami this year, which really ticked me off, but we're doing Tampa and then over to Jacksonville. And then from Jacksonville, we're flying to Seattle. So we couldn't get Miami. And I kept saying, let's just do Miami, screw Jacksonville, because Miami, I can get a direct flight to Seattle.
Yes. Here we go.
But we don't go to a place if they don't have real practice going on. And it just worked out they weren't practicing when we were there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett will join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains and CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. So I teased the topic, and I'm not good at teases, but I think I did it effectively enough that I don't think anybody knows what the topic is that I want to bring up here.
You got me to stay just by pulling that trick out.
I thought it was my begging, actually, but okay. So, spring football. Why is it that this will not work? You've got every network that televises football televising spring football. You've got 2 leagues. 600,000 people watch these games. To give you an idea, that's slightly more. Now, that's on average. That's all the networks. That's from putting it on a network to a game on USA. But the games average, both leagues, by the way, they're within 3% of each other. An average game pattern attracts 600,000 people. That's basically a test pattern in network television. I mean, First Take nearly averages 600,000 viewers. Pat, why is it that this is apparently never going to work?
Well, I think the average American football fan, just like the average European fan, when we tried to put NFL Europe over there, they looked and they didn't know any better, but they said that's not the real good players, so they didn't want to watch. Now you spin that thing into America, and I think we all know that those are guys that got cut in the NFL. and they don't see it the way I see minor league hockey or minor league baseball. So unless the NFL owned that league and there was a travel up and down where guys are here and then they're going to play, and now that's where I see sometimes some of the fan response comes from when they see their guys move up. So they play in the spring. I think the NFL fan is a little tight. I think the guys who start right after the Super Bowl, the first group, that's a mistake to me. To me, take a break from football, start right after the draft. If the NFL owned the minor league and you had some players up and down, like your third quarterback, just like a third goalie, what's the third goalie do? He plays down. But you all think, well, he's the property of the Blackhawks, and you can't wait to find out how he's going to do. So there's no up and down for them, and they play it too early. To me, I would, and that whole thing where they all played in the same city, that was, how are you going to have a fan base?
Well, right. And by the way, the XFL, because I'm guessing based on the ratings, most of you don't pay attention. The XFL and USFL both played this spring into early summer. The XFL went right after the NFL season. The USFL waited to the draft.
Right.
The USFL ratings year 2 were down and got beat by the XFL by 3%, which shocked the league, quite frankly. Daryl Johnston, who's basically running the league, came out the other day and said, we're shocked, actually, that our ratings went down, and we're shocked that we're even with the XFL. We think our product is far superior. But you mentioned something that interests me. We have talked about your love of minor league hockey. One of your homes is in Southwest Florida. They have a great AA, if you will, hockey franchise. All right. They just went back to back in terms of winning championships. They've made the playoffs literally every year but one of their existence. You love it. You are hooked. You love ECHL Everblades hockey as much as you love the National Football League. And yet I couldn't get you with a court order to watch spring football. What's the difference?
Well, first off, it's right there. So I started going because it was local. When the USFL is playing in Birmingham?
Right.
How can I relate to my team that's from Pittsburgh and they're playing in Birmingham? It makes no sense. So you don't develop a fan base. It's one of the problems in a lot of ways that the Chargers had when they moved into the little soccer stadium for multiple years after they left San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 20,000 seat place, and half the seats were people from the other team. So how do you nurture a fan base? And then that fan base, when the team's on the road, is willing to watch because they're hooked on it. Like I get Flow TV and watch the Blades when they're out on the road. But I love that the product has guys playing for practically nothing and playing hard. And I think hockey is more conducive to that than football. And I think that, look, I didn't know a lot about hockey. I just appreciated the effort and the enthusiasm of it. What we watch on the TV is basically guys that we all know can't play in the NFL. And if the NFL owned the spring league, I think it would be a whole lot different.
Do you think the league has any interest? Because in this, the NFL is a $20 billion, maybe even slightly more now, annual enterprise. A spring football league is literally pennies in the grand scheme of things. Do you think they have any interest at all, or do you believe they think, you know what, less is more, people want our product more, and that's why, kind of like the Masters, Pat, for the longest time, the Masters, they don't let ESPN show 10 hours a day of the Masters. You get 3-4 hours. That's it. And they believe less is more. Do you think the NFL believes that?
If I was the NFL and I cared about, and they don't care about developing players because the colleges develop them. So it's a whole different world. We have a minor league. It's just called NCAA football. But again, if you had that minor league and you were playing in the fall on Tuesday night games, and now at the end of the game, and you're my farm team, I'm the Detroit Lions, I lose Hutchinson on Sunday, and I've got a kid down on the minor league team playing Tuesday night that plays well. I pull him up on Wednesday morning. He's up with us. And now connection to the big guys is the only way I think it's going to work. the principle of being able to watch some level of professional football for cheap dollars, which is why another reason that the Blades are so popular down in Southwest Florida. Those people can drive to Tampa or Miami to watch NHL hockey, but they can't afford to go do it. So they go to the Blades game for $5 or $10, and they get a beer for $3, and they bring their kids. I love when I see all those kids in there.
He's Pat Kirwan talking about, football. And do you think, by the way, these leagues go away? The XFL is basically a 2-year deal with ESPN ABC. The USFL was a 3-year deal with Fox/NBC. They're both entering their final year next year. I mean, if the networks bail, Pat, obviously they're gone.
They're gone, and it'll happen again, and they'll be gone. I think they'll be gone because the one thing we know is if you don't throw them on major television, you keep putting them on back burner, ESPN 7 or whatever the heck is going to, no one watches that. It'll kill it. So, yeah, I think they're going to fizzle out. And no one's going to say anything. Like, I'd be really heartbroken if the Everblades folded and the ECHL folded, which I don't think it will, but could care less if the USFL and the XFL. Now, when they were around before, or NFL Europe, I had to scout them. I was in pro personnel, and we found players. And the first USFL coaches and players, when that thing folded, we did a nice job of finding good players, all pro players.
No doubt. Hall of Famers were in the original USFL. Absolutely. Jim Kelly, Reggie White, Steve Young, to name a few. Pat, hope you had a good 4th with your family. Be well. I know you got some traveling coming up, but we'll talk once or twice maybe before training camp, okay?
We'll be around next week. Because really listening to Felipe was inspiring. He had at least 3 words today.
I know.
A lot of hand signals, though. I got it. You could be called. We could have you calling the plays in. You know how to do that.
Pat, there's a 30-second cue, which he just gave. Then there will be a 15-second cue, which is a legal procedure. I don't know if you've noticed. Okay, when he goes to legal procedure, it's 15 seconds.
Well, here comes Roll Tide Roll right now. I don't know like
exactly.
Alabama.
And then we get the countdown second by second. 7, 6. Here we go. Pat, thanks so much. Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio. Seth Everett is next.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Seth.
What's up, guys?
Shalom.
You guys are talking about hand signals. I can tell you something only on this segment. I can't do it on the radio because it's visual. But 2001, I think, in St. Petersburg, Wade Boggs organized a celebrity softball game.
Okay, hold on one second. Felipe, try to lose the graphics if you can.
I don't know how to.
Okay, then don't worry about it. Okay.
Anyway,
Wade Boggs softball.
Wade
game.
Boggs organizes this thing. Billy Sample and I are asked to go to St. Petersburg and call it. And they're bringing celebrities, baseball players in the booth every inning, like every other inning. Bill Buckner's coming in. It's in the 6th inning. I've never talked to Bill Buckner before, and I get to ask him about Game 6.
Oh,
you're going to bring that up in the Wade Boggs celebrity softball game?
Hold on. I'm like, we talked about it. We planned it. How I was gonna couch it. Owen is the guy's name. I'm not going to give his last name because he works in the business. And David, there's a really good chance you know him. Owen crosses all his signals. He doesn't know the signals. What he wanted was we threw him a couple of softballs. Billy threw him a couple of softballs. How's it going? How's your family? Softballs. And what he wanted to happen was change it to talk about Game 6. This is the signal he gives.
That's wrap.
Thank you.
Let's wrap it up.
So I go, and he goes. So I go,
wow. Okay.
Bill, thanks for joining us. See ya. And we let Bill go. I thought he had to go.
So what did he think he was signaling you?
Move on. Go get to the topic that we just talked about.
No, that would be this. Or
Thank
no, or
you.
that would be come on.
Yes.
Get on with it. And then
wrap it up. So he screamed. He goes, "What the hell did you just do? Why'd you let him go?" I go, "You told me to wrap it up."
Oh my God.
He goes, "No, I didn't." I said, "That's wrap it up."
That's the universal signal for wrap
It's
it up.
universal. So Bill Buckner. So my story is Bill Buckner. I had one interview with him. I didn't ask him about Game 6 because some jackass gave me the wrong signals. And when I saw you doing the Pat Kirwan thing, I said, "Oh my God, that's Bill Buckner all over again."
I love when Felipe at 15 seconds. And by the way, I've never seen the 15-second cue that Felipe gives.
Right, because Mark sees it.
But that's no. I mean, this I do understand. 1:30,
Yep,
I get
30.
it. But Felipe, for whatever reason, at 15 seconds, he does this. I've been in the business 35 years. I had never seen this before. And I'm
that
like,
was all me. I made that up.
right. And so I'm
Grinded it up.
like,
boom.
And then right after he's done giving a legal procedure, he goes 10. And I go, that must be his 15-second cue.
I always wound it up at 15.
Kill that guy.
I start up big and then I.
So on this show anyway, Seth,
what?
This is 15 seconds. 1
Apparently.
minute, 30, 15 counts
Okay.
you down.
All right. If you say so.
Yep.
Yeah. But as I'm watching that, I was going, "Oh my God, Bill Buckner all over again." When Bill Buckner appeared on Curb Your Enthusiasm, that's all I thought about.
Oh my gosh. There's an episode of Curb with Bill Buckner.
Oh my God, yes.
I need to watch.
And Larry David has to throw him a baseball, and it's so funny.
I love that show.
So the Seinfeld Chronicles aired today.
Oh, really?
It debuted today.
The pilot? You're a woman, right? What gave it away, George?
There was no Elaine.
Nope. It was Claire, the waitress.
And Kramer was Kessler.
Yep. Well, originally.
Yeah,
I think they had
that's what I'm
changed
saying.
him.
It was
No, but I think they changed it in the edit of the Seinfeld Chronicles. I don't know. I don't think they refer to him by name. But yes, he was originally going to be Kessler. Which is why in the Bizarro Jerry episodes later on, when Elaine gets the fake opposite family, the guy's name is Kessler.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett, kind enough to join us. He is Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. Follow him on Twitter, Seth_Everett. Good morning. How was your holiday?
Good morning. That was fine. I worked my tuchus off.
Did you really? That's a bummer.
Yeah, I did iHeart in the morning, Boston, Seattle, and New York. And then I had to put Sports with Friends together, record a commercial.
Hold on a second. I thought you had recorded like 17 Sports with Friends and they were like done.
No, it was done. I just had to put it together.
Oh, well, that's on you then. You should have got it done earlier.
Yeah, but then the guy who takes over for me on iHeart, he had like a power failure in his house. And so I had to do extra 2 hours from 4 to 6 p.m.
Did you
iHeart.
hear what happened to us in the first hour of the show?
This first hour? No.
Yes, this is the only show I'm familiar with this morning.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
this
you
first
do lots
hour.
of shows.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so we're having some electrical issues in my condo in Jacksonville, and of course, we hook up via the internet to our home studios in Fort Myers.
Tell me about this internet.
And so, whenever we have an internet problem, it is in the last year and a half. It has literally never been my fault. I have rock solid internet. Okay. The internet all comes from the computer that Mark has to do the show off of in a very old studio on a very old computer. And God forbid he looks up a news story that's too much for that computer to handle, that he's got two things up at once, and Mark's off the air and I'm disconnected. Right. And Felipe is running the show by himself. So all of a sudden there's no Mark. And with like 30 seconds till we're coming out of break, there's a problem with the internet. And I'm like, uh-oh. But right before that, my lights went off and went on.
So I had to reset.
We have electrical issues in the condo. And apparently, when you turn the dryer on, you knock Miller and Moulton off the air. So I just had to run out during a commercial break and say to my wife, do not blow dry your hair this morning. You're going to have to tough it out. Because I've noticed lately when you've plugged in to blow dry your hair, the lights flicker. So we can't risk it.
When I used to do the show with Daryl Hamilton, he lived in Houston, I lived in New York. So it's a similar setup, but in much more rudimentary internet.
Sure, it's 20 years ago.
And he would cut out. And the audience couldn't hear him cut out, but I could in my headset, I could hear a click every time he came back. So we developed a bit. Every time he'd click out, we'd go, oh, we lost Daryl for a second. We'll hope to get him back in a second. But I'd hear the click. So I'd stop talking and he'd go, and those are the people I know did steroids and I'm not telling you again.
Now back to the calls. Right. When I say July 4th, do you think baseball or no?
I watched 2 games yesterday. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it the rule? Come on now. As somebody who still loved the people, many of them in the sport, but the product you had grown tired of and you weren't enjoying it. Okay. You have watched more baseball this year. Is it the rule changes?
Probably. It's the, I probably watched 1 to 3 games a week. But what it is I'll put them on during the daytime and I'll do something else while I'm watching. So
but you were not using them as background noise the last couple of years.
Correct. Look, the rule changes help. The everything has a faster pace to it. The strikeouts are still ridiculous. So I'm not sitting there analyzing the game like I used to. I watch it. I see what I see. There was a great game that I saw on Saturday. Red Sox Blue Jays. I watched that whole game, and that was the game where Verdugo threw out the runner from third to win the game. That was fun. I was like, that was entertaining. That was interesting. Because of what I've been doing with iHeart and because I'm trying to have a working knowledge of pronunciations and such, what I generally watch, if I'm going to put on a baseball game, it's the Yankees, the Red Sox, or the Mariners. Those are my 3 teams. And if they're playing in the daytime, I'll flip it on. Yesterday, I was working all day, so I had games on.
Well, I'm glad that they're bringing you back. Okay.
I'm doing a boatload of baseball podcasts coming up. Dwight Gooden's coming up in a couple of weeks. We have Sarah Langs. I don't know if you guys know who this story is. She's a MLB.com employee.
Yeah, wasn't she honored yesterday along with her family by
yeah.
the Yankees?
Her family throughout the first pitch.
Listen, I will say this. All right. There's a lot that you can go after the Yankees about. Okay. The Yankees do ceremony better than any organization probably in North American professional sports. When the Yankees spend a minute and 13 seconds paying attention to something, they do it in an incredibly classy way. This young lady is battling ALS. All right. And they made sure on July 4th, which was the date of Lou Gehrig's famous I'm the luckiest man in the world speech, and they brought her to Yankee Stadium, and her parents happen to be lifelong Yankee fans. And Garrett Cole shows up at the press conference, gives her a signed shirt from all the Yankees, says we're going to auction off other signed shirts to raise money. It'll all go to ALS, and turns and looks at the parents and said, you guys have a half an hour, start warming up. You're throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't tweet about it. I've connected with her in the last month, and I wanted to put her on this week because of the July 4th. I didn't know about the throwing out the first pitch, but I find her story very interesting. I mean, my heart goes out to her. I lost my grandfather to ALS. In the beginning of my career, I spent a lot of time with the ALS Association. I know it very well. So when I found out that she was afflicted, my heart went out to her. But what she does is she's a baseball fanatic. So what the podcast is going to turn into is this very lovely lady yelling at me about how great baseball is. And she knows it, and she can't wait to do the show. But what she has said is, like I said, well, I could rearrange something and I could have you on the July 5th episode. And she said, well, what would you move? I said, Mark Mulder, because that's this week's guest. And she just said, you can't bump me for Mark Mulder. This is over email. And so then I was going to put her on the first week in August. And then she says, what do you have then? I said, well, Doc Gooden. And she says, you can't book me for Doc Gooden. You bump me for Doc Gooden. And so she's going to be on in August. And but we may record it sooner than later.
I understand.
She's a lovely lady. And my heart goes out to her.
And you mentioned that early in your professional career, because of your relationship with your grandfather, that you did a lot concerning ALS. Listen, I understand to many Curt Schilling is a polarizing figure. I will say, when he was with the Red Sox and I was in Fort Myers, and I saw him do numerous things and events, hours he would donate with no publicity, okay, that he would do to benefit many charitable causes, but there is nothing he won't do to benefit ALS.
We used to have him on MLB radio all the time. Daryl and I used to talk to him all the time about ALS because of my connection to ALS. So yeah, there's a kid I went to high school with, a guy, he was a year younger than me in high school. So he was a junior when I was a senior. And he has ALS, and he's in the later stages, and I go visit him from time to time, and I'm very good friends with his wife, and it just, their story is even more heart-wrenching. So, like, ALS is still something in my life, and Sarah is a wonderful person. If you go on Twitter, I tweeted out the video of her family throwing out the first pitch. I just thought the whole thing was lovely. It was a 40-minute rain delay, which would have meant one drop, I would have left, but other than that, we were good. Yeah, it's the Seth Everett rain delay policy.
Oh, well, and believe me, I think it surprises none of us. Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. So where are you on the whole hot dog eating contest?
Oh, it's disgusting, and I don't even watch it. I don't barely talk about it. It's not even a thing to me.
It's not.
Although it showcased, I mean, we get into tech from time to time. It showcased how irresponsible Twitter has become. Because WABC in New York, which is the Channel 7, the ABC local affiliate in New York, reported that it was canceled.
Well, no. For a short time, that the word was out that it was canceled, and then basically,
But it spread like wildfire,
right?
And because there's no, it's the Wild West when on social
Right.
media,
No doubt.
And so everybody said it was canceled. I put it in one of my iHeart reports that it was canceled. It wasn't canceled. Then the next thing you know, the guy won. I could care less. Just the words. I didn't write the script of it, and the words make me nauseous. The whole thing is gross. And yeah, it's the old adage with streaming. If a tree falls and no one's there to hear it, I don't know what made a sound.
62 hot dogs in 10 minutes, over 18,000 calories, by the way.
Rocking.
Just for the record.
Does he have like MyFitnessPal on his phone?
He's also, first off, I think he looks good. Okay. I mean, hell,
I couldn't pick him out of a lineup. He's
thinner than you and I.
Sure.
Okay. By the way, he's also done 141 hard-boiled eggs in 8 minutes.
Ugh.
He's done 55 glazed donuts in 8 minutes.
Ew.
He's done 45 pulled pork sandwiches in 10 minutes.
So Mark Mulder's on Sports with Friends.
How many has he done, by the way? I mean, 150 or so wins in the major leagues. Whatever. Okay.
I know, right?
I thought of you Sunday. Would you pay attention to this?
I thought of you this morning.
Did you pay attention to the brouhaha involving golf on Sunday? Because they moved it up 5 hours. So because of it. And so first off, when the tournament was basically over by the time CBS's coverage aired, but also golf fans, they're watching it on ESPN Plus for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Some of them not really getting the leaders, though, but they're getting featured groups. But the leaders are not featured groups. How is that the case? Then we're over to the Golf Channel. We do that for 3 hours. Okay, it's coming down the stretch, and then contractually you can't watch the Golf Channel anymore. And they turn on CBS and they're running some golf show, not live golf, golf show, because the coverage doesn't start for another hour. That was after bull riding was on. And so people, golf fans, and of course, what's the average age of the golf audience? It's 114.
Of course.
And so, right. And so apparently all they had to do was go to the CBS Sports app. It was right there.
I was working iHeart that morning, and on the Bloomberg station in New York that I do, they want golf and tennis a lot. It's their target demo.
Sure.
And normally what I always will say is, here are the leaders. The tournament is underway. The final round is underway, but the leaders don't tee off until this afternoon. And that's kind of a standard line that I just say in every report. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, this guy's through 4 holes. I'm like, I have to update this every 20 minutes now? Oh my God. Yeah, the whole thing was a big mess.
And I know we only got a minute or so left.
I didn't think that was the controversy. The controversy was the officials have to testify next week. That's what I thought you were going to. PGA officials have to testify on their dealing with LIV.
Tuesday. No.
When you said, what's the big golf controversy? I said, that. I didn't realize it was Sunday. But yeah.
Right. No, maybe Jay Monahan shows up out of the witness protection program. It's a hell of
He's
a
in the
fluke.
bunker with Dick Cheney.
Greg Norman and the PIF guy. Yeah, they're all before some Senate subcommittee.
They're all hanging out.
I love the fact, though, that PGA Tour players have literally said, well, I guess we're going to have to watch because maybe this is where we'll get some answers. All right. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. What are you running? What are you preempting?
Well, Mark Mulder, one of the funny things about it, back in the day, I used to do a weekly show with Barry Zito, and the other show on MLB Radio did a weekly show with Tim Hudson. Mark Mulder couldn't have been more bored with us, and he literally never came on. So the idea that of the three of them, that he's the first one on the podcast, pretty impressive. We talked about the big three. We do a whole segment on if Jeremy Giambi slides, is the flip play iconic? Because if he slides, he's safe. We do at least 10 minutes on that. We also talk about how obnoxious Cardinal fans are. It's a really fun podcast.
Well, but also the A's are up 2-0 in that series. Yankees are protecting a 1-0 lead. I mean, the A's would have advanced. Obviously, if he slides, there's a good chance the A's win the series.
Oh, he got very animated when I said, so if Jeremy slides, is he safe?
All right, 30 seconds.
Hall of Justice is a gentleman by the name of Michael Lasker. It's his second time on the podcast. He is the visual effects supervisor on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. He's a good guy, and he's coming on. We're going to talk about how they made that epic film.
He's Seth Everett. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, 2 terrific podcasts. Seth, I hope you and the family are well. Hope you and your wife are actually getting along. You're having to spend all this quality time together with the kids at camp. Hope it's going okay. Miller and Moulton.
Mark's never sounded better.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
We declared our independence in 1776 and have been celebrating the 4th of July with concerts, parades, fireworks, and new sunglasses ever since.
Todd, I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but let's go with that since the Diamond District can't have a concert, parade, or fireworks in the store and want to celebrate. So this 4th of July, with a purchase of $500 or more, you'll receive free Bose audio sunglasses.
That's right. With any purchase of $500 or more, now through the 4th of July, the Diamond District will give you free Bose audio sunglasses. Listen to your favorite music by the pool, while running, or walking the beach.
Visit the Diamond District now through the 4th of July for your free Bose audio sunglasses with purchase of $500 or more. Only at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourself,